The UFL Gambling Podcast Week 4 reaction show on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network is brought to you by Underdog Fantasy. Play their fantasy picker for a chance to win 100 times the amount of money you can enter in UFL action or MLB, MMA, NBA, NHL, golf, and much, much more. Sign up today using the promo code, or sign up today at Underdog Fantasy using the promo code TCESGPN. Once again, that's UnderdogFantasy.com. Promo code TCESGPN to get 100% deposit match. So do that. And remember, as always, folks, too, let it ride.
Hey, this is Bill Romanowski. You're listening to SGPN. Let it ride.
Football is a unique American experience. A game described by one turn-of-the-century critic as crude and barbaric, with little chance of survival. But survive it did.
I don't give a damn who you are. This is America, Jack. You know how to play Buenos Aires football? I don't get it.
Being played in the United States Football League.
Touchdown! Oh my God! Quarterback is toast.
We sometimes forget that football, being the consummate team sport, is a great deal more successful when you do play as a unit and don't rely on individual talent. Frankly, I'm impressed with the USFL.
America, this league is good for America, and football is a sport that is made for television. That is football.
Unlike spring football is going to work in America.
You play to win the game.
And now it is time for our USFL report.
And we're back on the UFL Gambling Podcast. The USFL is now the UFL, in case you've been living under a rock. YouTube.com/@UFL Gambling Pod. Hey, I completed it. Get on over there and watch the show. Hit that like, hit that subscribe. If you're wondering who the hell you're listening to, that's fair. My name is Colby Swinging Database Dad, aka Pick Dundee. That's not a pick. This is a pick.
He was raised in the land down under, where a man thinks on his feet, speaks with his fists, and lives by his wits.
You're nothing but a chameleon, lemon-headed, coward, terrorist pussy. And I'm after you, buddy. You're going to pay for it. Good night.
Sometimes may be good, sometimes may be shit. Sometimes may be good, sometimes may be shit. Sometimes may be good, sometimes may be shit.
I should probably play that a fourth time because I was fucking horrible this week.
Yes.
Oh my God. Oh my God. Just a take my money. UFL action. Oh, DFS did hit for a solid $18. I think I might have thrown about 25 in there.
I was just kidding.
Yeah.
I mean,
$20 entry.
But I feel good getting that return text message from DK saying, hey, $18 you won this weekend. I am joined by my co-host. He is live right now in Chicago, Illinois. He's got a comedy show tonight at the Lincoln Lodge, 8 p.m. in Chicago. What are you doing, folks?
Yep.
And if maybe you're listening to this late. If you miss it tonight, don't worry. Comedy Bar in Chicago on Wednesday at 8 p.m. Once again, Lincoln Lodge tonight, 8 p.m. Wednesday, the Comedy Bar. So get on over there, 8 p.m. He is the host of the Bottom Line Bob's podcast. They call him the man in the box, a.k.a. the Bet Detective. I give you a seat. Jay Sullivan, how you doing, buddy?
yes. So, but thank you. Lincoln Lodge, longest running independent run comedy club in the country, by the way.
Woo!
So it's very historic.
Woo!
A lot of greats come through in there.
A lot longer than the UFL then, huh?
A lot longer than the UFL. They're trying to bounce back from their public relations nightmare that Sean Green put them through. I see. They're bouncing back.
SGPN did get credentialed.
Yeah, that's what
They
I
still
heard.
didn't give us an apology, which to me, I kind of think we need one. So
Yeah,
okay.
well, I mean, the war went public. The truce better go public as well.
Exactly.
As far as the show, I went 2-2 this weekend. I went against the grain a little bit. Also got some return cash in that DFS. And you're right, that email does feel good. Or a text message. We credited your account.
It does.
Really? What'd I do? I don't even remember. I remember having a couple duds in there, including we'll get in there. Like, good God, it was a weird scoring weekend because I had a couple guys like Durant. I'm getting sick of the running back rotation, period, in UFL, let alone with these battle.
Wait about the quarterback rotation. Hold on. I mean,
God, I know.
We are joined by third man in the booth, the host of the Old Fashioned Football Podcast, which you should be subscribed to as well. They call him J Mark, aka Justin. Mark, how you doing, buddy?
Doing good. My DFS, my $12 entry won me $8, so I think that's going the wrong way.
That's all right.
I went the wrong way too, I think. Because I think I made 18, but I entered 3 or 4 different ones. So when I add up everything, I think it probably threw in 25, made 18, but that's okay.
It happens.
Yeah.
I also had a rough week against the spread, 1-3, but 3-1 against totals. That's my best week in totals so far. So at least I can say I won something, sorta.
There you go.
It was a weird week though.
Did you scout that weather in Birmingham? Is that what you're hammering out on that? That was a sharp play. The under on that one. Once they're going to go safety by safety, man, alive.
Unfucking believable, that game. Let's go chronologically. The first game that occurred was the Battlehawks Showboats 32-17. The over hit. I was on the under. I was also on the Showboats +7. I mean, this could have still hit had Case Kukas not gotten injured. Once he got injured, which was fucking hilarious too.
Yeah.
Football was back for a second because he gets strip sacked and then a defensive end or defensive tackle just happened to demolish Case Kukas the way it should happen if that's football. And I don't want to see him injured, but at the same time, I do want to see quarterbacks hit. And I thought that was great. And but once that happened, I knew I was cooked on the +7. I do think the +7 could have hit had that play not occurred.
The money line was live. It's not. Listen, St. Louis played great. Their offense is definitely gelling and getting Pearson back, obviously, and even more boost for one of the probably the best offense in the league. But Case Kukas doesn't get hurt. I mean, that game's coming down to the wire. It was looking just like the St. Louis Arlington game from early in the season. Where it's just going to come down to that last possession, kind of a shootout. Yeah,
and I will give credit. I thought the Battlehawks, and I know J Mark, was on the Battlehawks here. He finally got it right. He's on the right side of the Battlehawks here.
Yeah, he did. He got in our face with that one. He was right on that.
I think the roster that I did make money on, I did roster Darius Victor. Why did you not? I think I texted you guys this. Memphis before the Kukas injury, if they just ran the ball more, they were going to win the game. But once again, I don't have faith in John DeFilippo. Darius Victor had 11 rushes, 58 yards, 5.3 yards a rush. Titus Swen was getting 7 yards a carry. Why did they not run the ball more? Because to me, that was the one thing. I know the Battlehawks were injured on the defensive line, but I don't think they needed to pass that much. I don't get it. I don't get the philosophy. If you're getting that much yardage, you should try to run the ball more. You also then get control of the clock and can kind of dictate the way the game goes. But, I'm just a fucking idiot over here. CJ, am I a moron here? I know I'm a moron, but I'm saying that when you're averaging that many yards per rush and you only rush the ball, 12 times to your running backs, doesn't make any sense to me.
Right. We didn't exactly say that before the game. It happened right when they ran it in for a touchdown. But it's a little revisions, but you're right. They weren't running it enough. Period.
Well, I didn't know their D line was injured until after our show.
Right. But they were not running it enough, period. You were right about that. And but once Kukas got hurt, they became one-sided too. I mean, and then once they get down, I guess game script gets away from them. But in this league, like you said, like 15, 20 points is the same thing as one touchdown. So why do abandon a run, especially when they do that well? And I was on this Memphis team. You can call it underperforming, whatever. I just wasn't a believer in them all year, and then I think their season is pretty much. I mean, it's slipping away pretty quickly. But
because
this
Michigan
Cook
lost.
injury,
Yeah,
you're right, because it's Cook, and they do play Michigan next week as well. But they have Cook is being hurt. That opens up the road though. For can we get a Luis Perez type? If not Luis Perez himself.
Get Matt Corral over to the Showboats.
Yeah,
right?
Corral. I mean, I'd rather have Perez. To be honest with you, why not get him out of Arlington?
Oh, I rostered Perez as my DFS QB. I got a little bone to pick with old Luis Perez, and the Renegades there, but
and also Battlehawks. J-Marks are on the Battlehawks. We'll let him flex on that and brag about that. Will they tell us which running back they're going to play though each week? This is getting absolutely fucking ridiculous. I had Durant in my DFS lineup, and he gets 1 carry for 8 yards. He looked like a goddamn world beater every two when they unleashed him. When they unleashed him versus Arlington, and now he's out. They can't even sniff the field.
Yeah. I mean, the one thing is in that Battle Dome, it was rocking again, even though the top deck was completely empty. And it was rocking. It was. I mean, it's by far the best home environment. Them or DC, but DC Stadium's capacity is like 18,000, so we'll never be that. But the offense did move pretty smoothly. I feel like. I thought the Showboats defense would be a little bit better in the game. Now, having said all of that, J-Mark, you were the one person that picked the Battlehawks minus the 7. You cashed in. How does it feel, buddy? Talk some shit.
Feels great. I think this offense, I said it, the reason I picked them is because 2 weeks ago, it looked like the offense finally started clicking how we kind of thought they were going to, how they were last year. Started clicking again. And I saw more of that this last week, and even more so with Ja'Cour Pearson back in the lineup. That guy's hard to cover. He's very talented, and I just think this is the best receiving core. It's the best passing game. AJ McCarron's the best in the league that doesn't have to share time with somebody, and the only people that have to share time are the running backs. So CJ, pick Sailors this week because it'll probably be Durant. So you can just keep picking the wrong one, you know.
I'll say this though: the Birmingham Stallions are still the top offensive team in the league by almost 67 yards per game, which is fucking insane considering they just played a game in a monsoon. And to still be up by 67 yards on your average compared to the next best team, which is St. Louis. They surpassed Arlington. Arlington wasn't number 2 a week ago. St. Louis now averaging 303 yards per game. Arlington now at 3rd. But yeah, I mean, I'm with. Here's my thing though. At home in the Battle Dome, they're a different team. I want to see it on the road.
Yeah.
Have their road games were what? San Antonio and Detroit, and they're 1-1 on the road, right? It'll be interesting to see.
Something like that. Well, you're going to see it next week. They got a big game in DC. Be the first team ever to win in DC, and we know they got swept last year by them, so it'll be a big revenge game spot for them. And
lemon party, let's go get that beer snake going.
Take on that beer snake.
Well, you don't just walk into what's that?
Oh, I'm waiting to see when Channing Stribling is going to play because I think that's going to elevate their defense. And they're getting decimated in injuries in the defensive backfield too, safety and cornerback. So Stribling was inactive again this week. I think from what I've been reading, he's about healthy. So if he could play, I mean, we saw him for the Stars. He's a game changer.
Very good. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, really, when you dive into these numbers from this game, it's like a fucking dot. Now I know Memphis had the interception that set him up nice, but Memphis only had 127 yards of total offense. When did Kukas get injured? It was 3rd quarter, right? Early 3rd quarter, was it?
Yeah, he sucked before that though.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. Their ground. This is what's mind numbing to me is like the ground attack averaged 5 yards a rush, but you didn't commit to it and you couldn't pass the ball. They only threw for, and I still laugh at this. Like, as much as we want to praise AJ McCarron, and which every fucking spring football person does online, and even on the when you're watching the game, the telecast, he still doesn't stretch the fucking ball down the field. 4.9 yards of completion is pretty shitty. It's pretty shitty. It's like, okay, he's efficient, but he's pulling a Kirk Cousins in a way. You know what I mean? But even worse, how about this? Case Cook is 2.9 yards of completion. Look, I don't know if you guys circle these things and look into these, but that's very, very horrible. That's just in general, whether it's college, I cover college football, I cover the FCS, all these other spring leagues, CFL, NFL. You rarely see 2.9 yards of completion. Normally,
I agree. Well, there's a lot of crossing patterns going on. A lot of double forward pass. Maybe that comes into play. No, he's been bad, which is weird because he was the number one.
Well, it's almost like hard to do that because it's hard to beat either the pass that would be incomplete, but to actually have it to average 2.9 yards is like really fucking challenging. I feel like it's like every play's got to be a fucking screen. You know what I mean?
Well, I know they were toast once he got hurt, though. That's for sure. They couldn't do anything once he got hurt.
Yeah,
that was the game. And Cook and Harrison's right. He was good that first drive. I had him. I thought him that money line. I thought my 15-1 was coming in. Thought it was live. I didn't know Memphis was going to win a team that fucked me. DC was live and in charge.
Yeah, shout out to David in the chat. Tough, rough weekend. Yeah, that was rough, man. Me too, brother. Me too. All right. Well, I mean, impressive performance by the Battlehawks, which I think has made CJ's power rankings at the moment. I think he is correct by the other outcomes. I think he has a nice little fuck you moment to us that he can do, but the season's not done. It's not done. The next game, well, I don't know the next game chronologically. I'm going to assume because the DC Stallions delay. Let's go to the Panthers Brahmas game. This is one that's super fucking annoying to me.
Well, you're delaying the Birmingham game.
Well, because
we're doing regional bias here.
Yeah, regional here.
Which they're doing again, by the way.
What?
Oh boy.
Yeah, the Brahmas at Renegades and Stallions at Roughnecks, same time, 6 p.m. Central.
I don't get.
I don't think the league wants to be successful. Sometimes I believe that. Sometimes I think this is like, is this like a house foreclosing? You know what I mean? Like where you can end up like, oh, you write this thing off and you get a little bit of a coin next year or something. I don't know. There's got to be some angle that I'm not seeing here.
This is my game. Fuck you moment right here. EJ Perry was garbage.
Oh, dude.
Yes, a terrible San Antonio defense as predicted. There's no way. All he had to do, I mean, if you watched that game, not only was just receiver breaking stuff, nothing was going over. You want to talk about yards per completion. He about to average around 4 yards per completion, but then after the contact, that stretches it out to make it fucking 15. It's a joke. All you have to do, whatever. Point is, San Antonio's defense isn't that good, but they looked amazing.
Yeah. He had one of the whitest plays I've seen. Tell me, I couldn't help but cracking up when he hurt himself. Yeah. It's like he runs. To me, he didn't even need. He was like a deer in the headlights. He didn't need to escape the pocket that way. Like to me, there were plays, and this is to your credit, CJ. There are plays where he doesn't do his offensive line help. No. Like I understand the left tackle was getting destroyed. He was.
Right.
But EJ Perry would also call a hike and like quickly go outside of the pocket where it's like, if you just stand pat in the pat, yes, you're going to get hit some because your left tackle seemed to be horrible, but at least like they can still have kind of the defense. Like by you running to the outside instantly, it's like a Chinese fire drill over here. You got shit just going everywhere. And he was fucking horrible. And what's crazy is made me think when Etling came in, I was like, good God, you start this guy the whole game. Your defense only gave up 19. And one of those was on a pick. Like you should have, if you have Etling the way he was efficient, man. They would have won the game if I think he started the whole game. Am I crazy to think that?
Well, I mean, yeah, no, you're not crazy to think that. You're crazy for different reasons. But they, they're going to play Perry. I mean, it's just that, I don't know, that defense, It was 3 turnovers, 6 sacks, was it in like the early first quarter?
But they both like San Antonio only got 5.1 yards a play. Michigan was at 5. So like it was a closer game than like
no, for sure. But it also seemed like Dormady looked good early on, but then it seemed like they also looked sloppy too, and they would turn up. But it seemed like they didn't feel like they needed to keep it going. Almost like they at no point was Michigan a threat to threaten that lead or come in.
But like early in the game, I know they got up like 10-0.
Mm-hmm.
Michigan got the ball in that side of field, but there was just stupid strip sack. There were some dumb decisions too. Nolan didn't go for a 4th and 1 that I thought he should have, but I mean, I guess I should expect that every fucking game now.
Right.
But I thought their defense kept San Antonio in check though. When if you told me coming into it, because I'm going to say 16 points. One of it was a 3 off turnover on downs, right?
Mm-hmm.
They basically held them to 16 points. The defense did. You should be able to win that game. You should be able to win that game with San Antonio scoring 16.
I agree if you look at those stats, but the eyeball test, San Antonio looked like they out muscled and maneuvered them. Like, on all phases of the game, they looked like which was surprise. That was a little surprising. I would thought Perry was going to regress a little bit, but Michigan, they do have that great defense and are a very strong force their will kind of team. But they were bullied around, I thought, by San Antonio on all three phases.
I'd push back on the running. They had 22 rushes for 41 yards. I don't think San Antonio was it. I mean, 3 phases as an offense, defense, special teams.
That's what I'm saying.
Okay.
Offense, defense, special teams. Not every single unit, at the rush, but like San Antonio just imposed their will on them.
Well, one thing that I must apologize to the listeners. I did not know Quentin Dormady was from fucking San Antonio. That
changes everything.
First time in his career, he's going to be able to play at home. Had I known that, I think I would have been a little bit different on my pick. That's all I'm saying. That's a key ingredient to fucking know. Yeah, I mean, like I said, they couldn't run the ball on Michigan, and if Michigan could just do anything offensively, I think if they play that game again, Michigan could win that game. But I do think Danny Etling is way better than EJ Perry. I don't understand. Like EJ Perry, I guess the running aspect, Etling doesn't have that, but
right,
he's way more efficient as a passer. Like vertically, am I crazy or they go to prevent? Maybe I don't know, but Etling was able to stretch the field a little bit there down the I know the game was out of reach, so maybe it wasn't prevent. But J Mark, what'd you make of this game?
I mean, I think they're both terrible. If Michigan, their defense is good, yes, but if they're only going to run the ball 11 times outside the quarterback scrambles, they're not going to win many games. They're not built for that. They need to run the ball 15 to 20 times a game at least.
They're the
if
Jets.
They want to win.
I said this is the Rex Ryan Jets, man.
Yeah,
and you're going to be playing with fire every week. Every week, they could. Here's the thing with like Rex Ryan's teams, like they remind me of each other. They're going to be able to beat some teams that we're going to be like, holy fuck, how do they like? They could probably beat Birmingham, maybe. I don't know. I know it was a 7-point game the first time, but I'm saying they'll get up because of the style of ball they play. Will beat some teams that they have no business beating. But at the same time, every game where like they were a 1-point favorite, every game that's like this is going to be a shit. It's like buckle up because you don't know what you're going to get. And once you see EJ Perry, that strip sack, that's a team that they cannot afford that.
Right.
The minute you turn the ball over, they're going to lose the game because they cannot come from behind. They
Agreed.
which means they have to lean on the run more, which is your point, J Mark. They should run the ball 30 fucking times every game, but they don't.
Agree.
Yeah.
Agreed. That was my first takeaway. The second was I was reminded that last year in the XFL, there were a couple recap episodes where we were saying, is Quentin Dormady the best quarterback in the league? I mean, that guy can sling the ball. I don't know why he was a backup to Chase Garbers.
He was a backup last year too. Remember?
Right? Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, for sure.
What's going on here?
I don't get it, but if he can continue to play that way, maybe even get a little bit better because now he's getting his game rhythm down and everything, the Brahmas could actually be a team to beat. I'm not saying they're going to win it all. I still think
they got to run the ball better.
Yeah, they do have to
Well,
run.
they
the ball.
lost. I mean, they lost their run. Let's give Wade Phillips a little credit here too. Old Grandpa Wade, who's not plugged in. I mean, they lost their quarterback and running back last week.
It's true. It's true. It's a nice win.
And came in through this win, and Wade answered back. You posted that hilarious clip when they asked him last week about, "Hey, why'd you kick the ball off?"
What's this?
Like,
what's going on?
He's like, "Huh? What's going on? What happened now?" And they're like, 2 timeouts, 2 timeouts. So everyone made fun of him for that. And he came, and then he came back with another tweet. He goes, "Well, I don't," which I kind of agree with Wade. Yet I don't want to be fucking questioned about my calls a minute into the game,
in the middle
live on the
Get the
spot.
fuck
What?
outta here.
Yeah, go fuck yourself. That's why. That's what I would have told him.
But this is my thing with Wade Phillips, and he's had this track record as a head coach, whether it was Denver, whether it was Buffalo, whether it was Houston.
Yeah.
See, those players being injured, I think, actually helped the decision making for Wade Phillips. Like, this is a guy that started Tommy Maddox over John Elway. You know what I mean? I was like, what are you doing?
Tommy got offense with electric though.
We're gonna start Rob Johnson over Doug Flutie in the wild card game. Oh, Doug Flutie got us here. Let's just start this surfer kid from LA. So having McFarland and Garber's injured now, Garber's I think he's out for the whole year. So this might be a blessing in disguise. But it also makes me still question, because if watching both, Dormady looks way better than Garber's.
Right, and we could have told you that. We're huge Dormady. I threw him in the DFS. That got me $25 winner. $2 play. I mean, and he did not even have that great statistically of a game, because no one else did good except for AJ McCarron. But other than that, I mean, yeah. Although we do know what happens with Dormady, he has a couple really good games, then he goes back to being Dormady, and that's probably what happens during practice and why he doesn't win these jobs.
The away games, but now he's at home.
Yeah,
they said he's married with kids. Even the ex-girlfriends are showing up. He's got to impress. He's at home. There ain't nothing else going on there. That fucking Riverwalk Spurs are terrible. You know what I mean? So, I can't wait to talk about the next one, because the next one is the one that just okay. But before I do that, I want to tell the fine people out there, listen to the UFL Gambling Podcast, part of the Sports Gambling Podcast Network. But it's NFL Draft Week, and the Sports Gambling Podcast has you covered with all week. They're going to have you with NFL draft props, mock drafts, and their NFL draft watch party. Tune in Thursday night on the Sports Gambling Podcast YouTube page, and come hang out with the guys for the best NFL draft watch party there is out there. And I'll be there representing SGPN. I don't know what team I'll be. I think I'm just kind of there. I got all the clips. I'm a college guy. I got all this shit loaded. The computer's about to overheat because I've been just pulling up clips on a backup quarterback for Utah State from earlier today. But yeah, come check it out. It'll be a lot of fun. We're also brought to you by Underdog Fantasy. The NBA playoffs are here, and our sponsor, Underdog Fantasy, wants to make it a lot more interesting. Underdog Fantasy is the easiest place to play fantasy sports. Playing their pick'em game is as simple as selecting higher or lower on player stats like points, rebounds, assists, and much, much more. And what's cool about Underdog Fantasy is you can do a whole lineup with NBA basketball players, or you can mix and match across other sports. If you want to throw in NHL prop or, whatever it could be, NHL, UFL. We have UFL stuff. So get on over there. You can win up to 100 times the amount of money. And it's a ton of fun. And Underdog's available in 30 different states, including California and Texas, and the great country of Canada, where the Bet Detective will be doing comedy there. Winnipeg.
Mm-hmm.
Get on over there. So folks, check out Underdog. Underdog's available, like I said, 30 plus states, California, Texas. They also just launched their champions, their player versus player format in Florida. So make sure you sign up with the promo code TCE SGPN, and Underdog will double your first deposit up to $100. That's Underdog Fantasy, promo code TCE SGPN. All right, next up, as I continue my bloodbath of now, I did hit on the under in that last game. I was correct on the Panthers Brahma under.
Yeah.
But then came this. I mean, I love Skip Holtz. But what are we doing as a league? How am I supposed to take this league serious when you have Adrian Martinez? And I love the people on Twitter saying we have a quarterback controversy here. And they compare the stats between Matt Corral and AJ Martinez. And Martinez, I say Adrian Martinez, Jesus. Adrian Martinez and Matt Corral. Martinez only has one start. You can't compare. I mean, how do you not see the field, guys? What are we doing here with this league?
I don't know. This is, I mean, obviously, like I said, when it comes to Corral, when you have a couple of names in there, I think that it comes from above that they have to play.
A name. He got cut by the Carolina Panthers.
Well, that's a name in this league. That's a name. He was associated with the Carolina Panthers, but now he was going to name it Ole Miss, I guess, a little bit. But like,
but so was Martinez. I mean,
yeah, for sure. That's what I mean, and that's the problem. They have two of them. One of them's got to get their ass down to Cookistown, get their fucking, get some Memphis barbecue in one of these guys.
It's like watching. I used to watch. I mean, I still watch. Subscribe to the CFL Gambling Podcast, but back in the day, we just mentioned Doug Flutie with Wade Phillips. He was a Toronto Argonaut and a Calgary Stampeder. And I remember watching those games, and you're captivated by this guy. You're like, man. And you would say, I wonder if he could play in the NFL. I think he could, man. I think he could. For like a decade, you would say that because he was just killing it in the CFL. But it made you want to watch every week, in my opinion. And I think when you think of spring leagues, I think one of the hardest things to do is to find star power because all of them are normally in the NFL. So when you have a situation like Adrian Martinez the week before, who looked clearly, I think that's the best. That was the highest passing game of the whole season, right? At the time. And he also ran for a shit ton of yards. This is someone you can market. This is someone where someone says, hey, I would like to go see, this guy. He's a dual threat quarterback and he's absolutely killing it. I don't understand. Like, you don't need, like, okay, you want to start Corral and mix him in, but to not get any snaps to the guy that was the flat out like best player in the league, the way that I know it was a short sample size, one game. You got a little bit of that Arlington game, but he did good too in that game. So it's like, I don't know. Obviously, I had him in DFS, but I thought he would at least play. I thought he would fucking play. It's like, this is like having Reggie White and you say, you know what, Reggie, just sit on the sidelines. Sit on the sidelines. What's going on here?
That's a bit ambitious of a comparison, but I will say,
hey, does he not look better though? Based on that,
no, of course he does, and it does lose a little integrity to the league. And quite frankly, when you see something like that, because there's no explanation except for Skip doing Skip things, as Flame Wingman says here in the comments. I mean, they think long term Birmingham seeds because they are the best team and they know they're the best team and they know what they're going to be. They know they're going to be the one seed, so they kind of think like, well, maybe like they're trying things out for down the road. Who knows what the deal is?
Yeah, I will say Martinez will be on the Browns next year, so we'll have to we'll have Corral and Smith.
I will say this: you guys laughed in my face when I had the plus 390 money line I called out in DC defenders, getting the 9 points, and if it wasn't for a very fortuitous touch by my man CJ, and that would have been a scoop and score. They would have been up 2 scores, DC, early. Birmingham luck boxed their way out.
Oh,
they turned it over in the red zone and a block kick. Look, and all of a sudden, and then the weather storm comes.
The fucking safety. Come
on. That's what I mean. They got the safety, the first play after the storm there, and then they win by 1. This is ridiculous. Play these games in a dome, Colby, just like you said.
Oh, no. I am so sick. What? They just can't play in the rain. Is that?
No, I know it was hilarious, but the bot snap in the rain, I mean, that was the difference.
That's why you should play Adrian Martinez because he can run. What the fuck? No, you know what I mean? I know Corral can run a little bit, but Martinez is a different style of athlete. It's mind numbing to me. It's like
if the DC gets that scoop and score,
that's true.
They win this game outright.
But if they just start Adrian Martinez, I don't know. You still dive into the numbers. Birmingham got whatever they wanted, 356 yards to 251. All right. Like, if they start Adrian Martinez, they win by double digits, man.
He's the Reggie White of the UFL, obviously. But
it was a callback to his showboat days.
I will say this. DC, they did fail to capitalize on a lot of the miscues because Birmingham did hand them a lot of stuff. And
that missed tackle on that like 50-yard touchdown. It's like, I felt like I honestly thought the defensive back was throwing the game. I was like, are you trying to tackle? What are we doing here?
And Tamu missed a wide open. Was it Vincent Smith or something early on?
Yeah.
What about that? And that was a huge moment as well, I thought, right there. And I don't know. I'm still liking DC. They'll be coming back home after this, but it was obviously with the weather. It was just a sloppy game both ways. But DC showed me some heart. Showed you guys some heart.
They did, but I also felt like the perfect storm, literally, by the storm coming in, and then obviously with the just Skip Holtz, who I don't want to question because he wins a fucking championship. They'll win it again this year, but what are you doing here? Like, to me, if I'm the league president, which I know I shouldn't count on this because logic with the UFL administration has been a fucking completely fair. I would call it and be like, hey man, Adrian Martinez seems to be like one of these guys that we can market this league around. We can do posters, have kids wearing their jerseys. You know what I mean? He just didn't play. You couldn't even get him on the field for a couple possessions. You know what I mean? I understand what you want to do, but what the fuck are we doing here? J Mark, your thoughts?
Yeah, what you just hit on, didn't even play. That's what baffled me the most. Like, it's one thing to go, okay, we're going back to Matt. He's going to start this game, but he looked so panicked in the pocket so many different times. He was fumbling the ball. He was struggling. Why don't you bring Martinez in at that point? You know, you've got a guy,
more so because of the rain, right? Like,
yeah, right. Like, I don't understand why you completely keep him off the field. That didn't make sense to me. Especially when the game, it looked like it was going to slip away from him and everything. I don't get it. He's a much more dynamic player. I mean, like you said, Corral can move around, but not like Martinez can. Just so much better. I don't understand that at all. Defenders, I mean, they kept it close. Props to them. I think that, when you're a defensive back, if you can't master the peanut punch, don't try stripping the ball if you're going to not tackle the guy. you can't do that. Like, that's why he didn't tackle him. He's trying to rip the ball from him. It's like, let's just go back to, I know everybody wants that highlight tape where they make the big play and strip the ball, but fucking tackle him. Come on. You can't risk not tackling a guy because you're trying to make a highlight tape. So yeah, that just watching that, I was like, this guy, that was a hit to his career, in my opinion. He's got to fix that or get off the field.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I completely. I mean, I was like, "What are we doing here?" I understand it's wet. Maybe I'll give him a tiny bit of a pass, but I'm like, "What are you doing? What are you doing?" Like, they still won the game though. And that's what's crazy. Is like the final two possessions because DC was able to have a great return by Roland, but like Birmingham could get anything. It was like they're just toying with them. It was like, "Oh, we need to play here. Here's a 20-yard pass. Here's a 20-yard pass. Oh, Sternberger over the middle."
I wouldn't go that far now. I mean, it was their swing. It was a pretty damn nip and tuck game. I mean, they were.
But
down
the final
early
two
game,
possessions, they were able to
lead.
get. Now, I guess they didn't get touchdowns. They got field goals, but I just felt like,
I mean, obviously they're the better team, but I mean, that was a battle. That was a game. I mean, but like, and shout out to those Birmingham fans too, by the way.
They were great in the rain.
They were awesome. Yeah, they were awesome.
There's a great shot of like 5 or 6 guys, their shirts off, just chilling there, enjoying the rain, having a good old time. See, that's what I'm talking about, Bet Detective.
Mm-hmm.
Like this generation forgets about that shit. I was watching a Denver Gold Chicago Blitz USFL game in the 80s the other night, right?
Yep, sure you were.
Fucking snow all over the field. The fucking crowd. The crowd was better than any of these. I mean, minus the Battlehawks. It was like a defenders crowd, DC defenders crowd, and it's snow. It's snow. You can't even get the Rice Bowl is like perfect weather, and there's fucking 7,000 people there. What's going on?
By the way, speaking of Chris Rowland and the returns, after watching special teams, how can the NFL not be like, maybe we do need a normal kickoff? Maybe we need to bring it back already, because the special teams returns were electric this weekend.
Yeah,
like every return
was
was
game,
exciting.
I think, right? Or was it the first game?
Yeah,
I think, Memphis, St. Louis was like, damn, everyone who doesn't want to see that.
Right.
I know people complain and say the kick, like I know Bet Detective here was, I don't know if he was being sarcastic or not.
Yeah. It was a little trolling going on.
Yeah.
I think there could be a compromise. I think they could kick from like the 25, maybe.
Well, that's what it was last year in the USFL. They moved.
Yeah, I think the 20 is a little too far back.
I agree.
I don't think they should call it 35, 40 every time,
Well, I mean, I think to me though,
especially with these kickers, and you only need 15 yards and you got points. It's crazy.
That's true. But the kickers normally haven't been this good in these spring leagues. I don't know. This is like, I need to see a bigger sample size.
Yeah.
But
J Mark's Battlehawk kicker had to fuck up the streak for the UFL kickers.
True.
But no, I think there's something to the fact though of like, I try to think of when I wasn't a football fan, like what drew me into football. And I remember seeing like there's something cool about seeing the most athletic fucking guy on the field have a chance each and every kick to take it back to the house. I think that's an element that sells your product some. And to me, having the other Kakanimi kickoff from a year ago in the XFL, where you have like it's a 3-yard run. I don't understand how the people that want more scoring don't see the comparison there of like, we get to see, one of the most exciting people on the field was Kavante Turpin, whatever you want to say, right? Get a chance to take this to the house. That's exciting. I want to watch that.
Yeah.
That's
what we grew up on. We grew up on Dwight Stone, and
well, it's just
Terry Metcalfs.
That's what I'm saying. But I don't understand how someone wouldn't, even like a lay fan, even though I personally think I agree with you. I'd rather see it at the 25 than the 20, but I still, in general, whatever the rule is, I want to kick where I can see the most, explosive guy on your roster having a shot to take it back.
100%
and not
agree.
3-yard cloud of dust like the XFL's rule. But
one of my favorite things about college football in general used to be is anytime there's an elite running back that just looks like he's a, man amongst boys and just sprinting and pass, whatever, just fucking running for 200-300 yards. It's that's what's that is the peak of football athleticism.
Yeah. The
and
final game,
and Napoleon Kaufman, if you will, for Washington.
Yeah, there we go. We had the Sunday game, which, oh my good Lord.
This one, we all have to take it here. We all got pissed in the face on this one. Reddit pissed in our face.
Well, I couldn't get a game right.
I
couldn't get a fucking game right. Besides that, I did hit the under, though, in this.
I did say this game had a little more weight for our show because of we all had Arlington ranked 4th in our power rankings, right? Going into this week.
Yep.
The winless Arlington, we were being
still the 3rd best offense in the league.
And for them to lose to Houston, the consensus worst team in the league. Not only that, the way they looked, granted, that was the worst they've looked all year. They played terrible. They looked like
they didn't fucking practice, man. Right. They didn't even know the plays. They didn't gross. Like Luis Perez, who was my DFS quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he's throwing the ball. There was receivers that aren't breaking where they should be breaking. They're running different routes. Not only that, just on a lot of the plays, it looked like they didn't know what the fuck plays they were running.
It looked
like 6 or 7 different plays. It looked like they did. There was a miscommunication.
Well, he only had so many hours to stream YouTube to learn plays. So,
but it did seem like they were even playing with like the pressure of needing to get that first win. Like if you're not going to beat Houston, you're not going to beat anybody. But Flame Wingman, you're right. Mark Thompson was a beast, and Mark Thompson jumped on our Twitter, liked a few tweets that we were involved in.
Oh yeah,
Mark Thompson looked awesome too, by the way, and he is awesome.
Well, he is, but you need to run him more. 9 for 34 yards. I'm with Joel Klatt. Joel Klatt made a great point of like, why are you not running this guy more?
Mm-hmm. Especially when that idiot coach even said at halftime they were going to. He told them he was going to.
Yeah, this is a league-wide thing. What the fuck's going on here?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like
pretty nuts.
Lack of commitment to the run game.
And that touchdown run he had where he shook the dude, made him touch the turf as he bragged about. It was.
They gave TJ Pledger more carries than Thompson. Doesn't make any fucking sense. Sinnott looked good though. I thought he looked pretty decent. And the main thing was to me a mixture of the Renegades' lack of offensive execution when it comes to like play terminology, I would say, and then I'll give the Roughnecks defense credit. They were making life a living hell a little bit, but some of that I do believe is just on the Renegades' communication. Like the picks, the interception was like you were in scoring territory.
That was terrible interception. He was missing Sal Cannella all day. Like he was like this wide open on the routes. Even that last one where they had to go 96 yards, he's right up the middle down the seam. Like, what are they doing? Like he would look at him, check him off, and then try to force it over.
I almost forgot my point. I almost forgot my point too on this, because that crackback bullshit block by Sal Cannella that they called, and to have even Mike Pereira sitting there and saying this shit, that is a fucking football block, man. What are we doing? What are we doing here? Like,
agreed.
And Pereira tried to do it. He goes, well, it's not a crack block. He goes, maybe a blind side. I can live with that. Well, first of all, that's not what was called. And second of all, it wasn't even a blind side.
Yeah.
He's running towards the play where the ball was. Like 10 yards. Like, how's that blind side?
Get that shit out of football. Like that. The fact, and look, that would have put them in position to potentially, tie that
huge
game.
Play.
Now, to be honest, I thought Houston was a better team all day. So, like, but I don't understand. This league's stolen games before. I thought we might be on we might get a steal. You know what I mean? I thought this might be a good situation for us to steal a win. That call is horrible, man. And I think, like, what are we doing? What are we doing here? Like, that's a stupid fucking rule. And if you're going to call the game, you could call that on every fucking play if you wanted to then. You know what I mean? Like,
that was terrible.
Anything. Yeah. J Mark, your thoughts on your Renegades?
Well, nothing makes me happier than see Luis Perez look like the bad quarterback that I say he is. He looked terrible. I mean, this is what in every spring league, he's just has these up and down moments, especially when you start pressuring him. Houston can pressure the quarterback. And Reed Sinnett looked good. I was impressed with how he looked. And I don't know if that's a little bit of them talking like, you need to perform or we're going to try this other guy. But I thought he looked good. I don't know if Houston can maintain that against other teams. I think Arlington is I think I was wrong. I'll say I was wrong by putting them fourth in the power rankings after this game.
I was wrong too, but hear me out. Plus 3,000. All right. Hear me out here. Plus 3,000. I know they're 0-4, right?
Mm-hmm.
But they play San Antonio this week, right? If they beat San Antonio, the Brahmas will be 3-2. The Renegades will be 1-4. But DC plays the Battlehawks, so one of them have to lose there. Kind of think the Battlehawks will beat DC and DC. Sorry, CJ. But my point is that I understand it's a 10-week league, but I don't see the Brahmas just like running away with the second playoff spot. I think there's still value taking the Arlington Renegades. Am I crazy? Look, I understand it was a bad power ranking play by us, but I still think there's value. I still think we dive in. Bet Detective, what do you think about this?
Well, they got in last year because of a league technicality. So who knows how they'll get the books in there? You know what I mean? If the I's aren't dotted and T's aren't swashbuckled or whatever. The problem is they got a lot of teams to climb there, obviously, with three of them.
But their schedule lets up a little bit. You got to remember their schedule was fucking insane before. Now, obviously, Houston was supposed to be a for sure win, but the other three, they get what? San Antonio, Michigan, Memphis, San Antonio. They get San Antonio twice. They get St. Louis at Choctaw. Remember, they if they fucking could have completed that pass that hit them right in the numbers, they would have won at the Battle Dome. And then they go to Aldi Field. They say they lose that one. If they take care of the rest of the business, they're in. Plus 3,000, great odds. No one.
I agreed last week when it was 22-1. I'm not going to tell people to take it this week because I think they're toast. Stick a fork in them. The futures I took, I think, are done. This is gonna be the Battlehawks, and I think the Brahmas will get in there unless DC can kind of pick it up a little bit. But
to be honest with you, I think that I'd rather have. I thought the number would be higher. 30-1 seems pretty low for what they did. I mean, there's dirt on their fucking grave for sure.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I guess it comes to anything else you want to add on this game, essentially. We got our faces pissed in. Congratulations to Reddit. You guys are great people. Congratulations to all Roughneck fans who did tweet out who were at the game on us.
Coach
Shout out
K.
to
that
them.
was great.
Yeah,
that was
Coach
great.
K. That was awesome. Legends, as you said on Twitter, they got their win and they played a clean game. Mark Thompson was great and their defense looked good. So,
yeah, I concur. I can't. I still. Well, we'll see. We'll see our power rankings.
all right, yeah, let's get into it.
I'm very curious who we have at number 8 because I still have Houston at number 8.
You can't do it.
I'm doing it.
If you're doing it now, you're doing it just to troll.
No, it's like, look, power rankings are not supposed to be on record. It's supposed to be on who you think is the best team. Yeah,
but they're I mean, come on. They need to be punished for that performance. Arlington can't. You can't put them above Houston for what they did right there.
Houston's 8th.
All right, I got Arlington 8.
J-Mark?
I got the Showboats. They've not. This was the first game they could actually run the ball, but aside from that, they've not been able to run the ball. Cookus has been bad, and then when he's injured, they have nothing. I just don't think they're a very good team, and this was a team I was kind of excited about. I thought that they were going to be good on paper. I thought the defense would be a lot better, but I think they're terrible.
They're the worst defense. Everyone thinks the Renegades. The worst defense is the Showboats from a number standpoint. They're the 8th worst, the 8th worst defense in the league, or they're the worst defense, the 8th ranked defense. I can't fucking talk. Yeah, my number 7, I have the Showboats. I don't have the Renegades. I think the Renegades, they have the 3rd best offense in the league. Okay, so if you dive in the numbers, now the Renegades do have the 7th ranked defense, but Memphis has the 8th offense, the 8th defense. Come on, CJ. They gotta be right there.
You're talking to a guy. Right? You're talking to a guy who had Arlington and Memphis down here in 6 and 7 all year long, from the get go, and got laughed at in your face. You guys love your UFL, USFL squads and all that, but no, it's still Houston. Them beating Arlington to get their first win. 2 0-3 teams going at each other and pulling out that 17-9.
Well, that was a USFL
Congratulations.
Win. That's a USFL win.
It was
Gamblers as the Roughnecks beating the champs.
And that makes the record 4-4, by the way, overall, the USFL, XFL.
And a couple of those were
J-Mark thought he had an early trend where he was just going to blind bet all UFL teams. That was proven no, as XFL has bounced back. But no, those are the 2. We watched the 2 worst teams in the league played last week, and that was what we got on Sunday. Arlington 8, Houston 7. Show some respect.
It should be 6-2, 6-2, but this Kakanimi 4th and 12,
which hit again. And they said it hasn't missed all year. Well,
that's not a good. That's not a good.
Fucking crazy. Why would they tout that in a positive way?
I don't know.
They're so stupid.
I got Renegades at 7th.
Yeah, they're my number 6. I got the Renegades at 6. They dropped from 4 to 6.
Fair enough. Fair enough. And I mean, I'll give you credit for that. It's hard to. You can't. It's to drop someone from 4 to 8 kind of weakens them at 4. So I can see you don't want to drop them too many spots.
Well, I still think like they have the 3rd best offense in the league. The numbers don't lie. Bet detective.
Perez led the league in passing until last week.
Inflated by a good game against St. Louis and a good game against DC. I don't know if I'm buying into it.
Those are like CJ's top 2 teams. What are you talking about?
These, we'll get to DC. I mean, DC's way down the road in my power rankings, so we'll talk about them once we get to the top tier. But what are we at 6? I have Memphis at 6. Cook, I would have him higher, but Cookus' injury is pretty devastating for them. I thought they played well for St. Louis for that first half until Cookus got hurt. So
their roster is talented. I don't understand how they're.
That's what I mean. They're huge underachievers. They're huge underachievers. But
you give Skip Holtz that roster, they might just win the goddamn NFL Super Bowl. You know,
not if Adrian Martinez is on his bench.
That's true. J-Mark, who you got at 6?
Yeah, so we all got the same bottom 3, just different orders. I got Roughnecks up to 6. I liked what I saw. The defense finally looked like what they should be. I mean, they got some big names on that defense, and I was impressed by how Senate played. Fair.
Yeah, Senate did play really a lot better in the second half. I felt like too, I guess the final drive of the first half.
Well, they had momentum going where they're like, what's the explanation when they got the ball the minute and a half, or they didn't call timeout. They get the ball back with a minute 50. They let that go down to 50, and then they just took a knee, pretty much.
Curtis Johnson. He's lucky they didn't lose. He's lucky that Canelo blocked, because they would have lost that game because of his fucking lack of aggression.
And they interviewed him at halftime. He's like, well, a little conservative because they got good offense. They got that offense over there. They got, fuck their offense. We're talking about you having the ball. Why didn't you do anything with the ball?
Yeah.
They're called for a timeout.
Their offense, they don't know the same plays. They've been they've been a mess the whole fucking game. What are you talking about? He's
I love how they have him mic'd up. Everything he says sounds moronic.
At number 5 to me, I have the San Antonio Brahmas.
Yeah, I figured you would. And I would like to slip him down there, but I'd like to have Michigan at 6, to be honest with you. But that Cookus injury is just
Brahmas rushed for 22 yards. All right, you wanted your little filthy Riverwalk Dome bullshit. You know what I mean? We'll see what happens when you got to hit the road. All right, you don't have that home crowd behind you with all your little girlfriends. All right. Yeah, I'm still not buying into this shit.
Hey, fade Dormandy at your own peril. I'll tell you that much.
I'm sure Chase Garbers will come back, and then they'll push him ahead of Dormandy, even though he's throwing for 300 every week.
I don't want to see Chase Garbers again unless he's in Memphis. That's for sure. But give me Michigan Panthers at number 5. EJ Perry is absolute dog shit, as predicted here by the bet detective. Sniffed that right out after his monster game 2 weeks ago.
You got to know your personnel. You got to have him play his game. His game.
True.
Can't make him fucking Broadway Joe back there. Right. All right. J Mark,
but they still have a great defense, and they can still beat anybody and lose to anybody.
Yeah, I got defenders. Sorry, CJ. I don't think Tamu is good. He's a 55, 56% accuracy type quarterback all year round, and their defense is not that good. Yeah, they looked good against Birmingham, but like you said, Colby, I think Birmingham was toying with them a little. That's what it looked like.
Toying with a walk-off field goal for them to fucking win the game.
They got whatever they wanted the final 2 possessions. All right, whatever they wanted.
If this is the field goal, they lose the game. The best team in the league on the road in a monsoon.
That monsoon helped them. They would have lost by 30 points. Was it for that fucking monsoon?
Because of the monsoon, you fucking.
I'm with you.
Anyway, you can rank them all you want, but I love this toying with them shit. It took them literally the last play of the game. They were down.
Well, the stats back us up. They outgained them by a fucking gigantic amount.
100 yards. But they were given shorter fields because of the turnovers.
I will. I'm with. I mean, well, I'm not with J Marcus. I know that was our 5th ranked team. Yeah,
he had DC at 5.
At number 4, I do have the DC Defenders. Okay. All right, look, that's me top 4. One of the better teams in the league, CJ. I don't want to hear.
I'm fine with them at 4. I'm fine for them at 4, but you know what I mean. They did.
I brought them up from 7. Come on.
Yeah. I've been saying, give them a little more respect for almost being the team that hasn't lost in 2 years, for crying out loud. I got San Antonio Brahmas at number 4. Dormandy's got them back up. I'm still not a huge San Antonio fan, but they handled business. They toyed. They were more sleepwalking in the second half, I believe, versus Michigan than toying. They were kind of in their own stupor. But with Dormandy, I mean, this team is on the up. And Wade, if he's confused, if he's pissed, I love a fired up Wade Phillips. That's for sure. But give me San Antonio at 4. Yeah, Michigan at 5. That's what I have.
J Mark 4.
Yeah, I flipped 3 and 4 back and forth a lot, but I'm going to go with the Panthers until they get better quarterback play.
Mm-hmm.
I can't put them up there. The defense is still good. It didn't look as good last week, but still good. Kind of.
Their first road game was last week too, right?
Yeah. So maybe we'll see how they continue to do on the road because they don't have a lot of home games left. But yeah, I got them down at 4.
Well, they're my number 3. I can't put them at 2 after the way the Battlehawks are cacaing all over me. But I still think I trust them to be like. I understand EJ Perry sucks. He's a complete liability. I think Etling, they might have a little bit something there with Etling. But to me, can I trust their special teams defense to be better if they don't beat themselves, which is always a big if, but I just think they're a more complete team. When I watch San Antonio play, I see a team that can't run the ball. I see a team that they look good this past week, but for the other 3 weeks, I thought their defense didn't look very good. So I have more questions there as far as from a whole team standpoint. With Michigan, it's strictly the quarterback to me. It's like, and I feel like that's, as long as you don't beat yourself, they're going to be there. They're going to be in the thick of it. So they're the 3rd ranked team to me.
Yeah.
Bet Detective, who do you got at number 3?
Bet Detective I got my DC Defenders at number 3. Obviously wanted them to get that outright win. They're still 2-2, and they got 3 games at home in a row coming right up. And that's obviously we know they haven't lost there in its history, basically on there with the beer snake. So obviously St. Louis, huge game, might be a season defining game coming up. But even if they do bounce that, they still got 2 more at home. I said in the beginning of the season, it's going to take a while for this team to gel. They lost a lot of power, a lot of components, but they're starting to get it together just a little bit, and they're a much better team at home. And I think it's a clear drop between. I mean, DC's not up there obviously with Birmingham, St. Louis, but it's 3, and then you can throw a blanket over the rest of this shit below them.
Oh man, J Mark, who do you got at 3?
I got the Brahmas. I was really impressed with how Dormady looked. If he can keep doing that, like I said, they might be a team to beat.
And I'm predicting early on that they will lose to Arlington next week, by the way. Even though I love Dormady.
So I think we both have. I mean, does anyone have St. Louis better than Birmingham?
No, you got to go Birmingham, St. Louis, 1-2.
I'm looking.
Even the most ardent Battlehawk fans, aka J Mark, knows.
I'm looking at the remaining
until they lose.
I'm looking at the remaining Birmingham schedule: at Houston, at Memphis, home to St. Louis at Penetrobe, and then home to Houston again, then at the Brahmas, and then home to Michigan. 10-0. Do you think they will go 10-0? Will St. Louis get them? Would maybe that trip to San Antonio with Dormady and his girlfriends? No.
Wait, say that schedule again. I'll pick it. They're going to lose once.
Okay, so at Houston this week, right?
That's the one.
No,
it could be.
No,
I mean that could be very much like the DC Orlando kind of situation from last year.
They're going to start Jamar Smith probably this week. Then the following week they're at the Liberty Bowl taking on the Memphis Showboats.
Okay.
Then they're home to St. Louis.
Mm-hmm.
Then home to Houston. Second game against Houston. So they haven't played arguably the worst team in the league at all. They play them twice. Then they head to San Antonio on May 25th. And then they're home at Penetrobe Stadium against Michigan.
Yeah. I think we circled it just like Dormady did last year in Orlando. Beat fucking lit up DC in that shootout. He's going to get, you're going to get
May 25th. The Alamo Dome's going to be rocking.
Same exact week too. I think it was to make him go like 8-1 or something shit like that. Right.
Yeah. I think you're right. All right, folks, we'll be back Thursday to make some picks. Get it done. I think we're going to record Thursday. I know Bet Detective's on the road. Make sure you get yourself out tonight. Get on over there, the Lincoln Lodge in Chicago. Check out the Bet Detective live stand-up show, 8 p.m. And then also Wednesday, Chicago at the Comedy Bar, 8 p.m. And look, some of our Canadian friends. What days you in Canada, man? In Winnipeg?
Winnipeg, Manitoba at Rumors, Thursday through Sunday there this weekend.
Look at all these rumors. All right. Give J Mark a follow on Twitter at JMarkFootball. Subscribe to the Old Fashioned Football Podcast. CJ's on Twitter at CJ_Sullivan_. The Bet Detective there. He is the host of the Bottom Line Bombs, which you need to be subscribed to as well. I'm on Twitter at DColbyD. Check out the College Football Experience and the FCS College Football Experience and the Sports Gambling Podcast live on VSiN every Friday night. Check out the NFL Draft Special, and looking forward to picking. Look, I had such a fucking horrible week. I'm going undefeated next week. All right, I'm calling my shit out there. Left field, home run. All right, let's go, Babe Ruth style, or Jake Taylor style. Until next time, folks. This is the UFL Gambling Podcast. You better start thinking about yours, and we out of here. Run and shoot.